Images of blood and shining metal flashed before my closed eyes, causing my heart to race with fear and anticipation. Hot blood spurted as flesh was ripped, cut, and torn open. I was dreaming. I had to be dreaming. There was no way this could be real. I came into consciousness, slowly at first as the pictures flashed behind my eyelids, and then I was brought back with a whoosh. Everything was blurry as I opened my eyes. I was already standing, and I was somewhere I had never been before. Once my eyes spotted the bed, I knew I was in a bedroom. But whose? The ceilings were high with exposed wooden beams running across in a parallel fashion. I felt plush, wet, and sticky carpet underneath my feet. The walls were mossy green with a brown-coloured carpet lining the floor. There was something wet and warm in my hand. An attacky feeling spread from my hand all the way down my body. I could even feel it dribbling down my chin from my lips. I looked toward my outstretched hand and saw something that shocked me to my core. There was a fresh, still beating heart clutched in my hand with chunks missing and bite marks all over it. That was when it hit me, what the liquid running down my chin was. "Oh my God!" I cried as the heart beat in my hand one final time. Stilling as the nerve impulses finally died away. I dropped it to the floor and began to back away, my feet sliding through the wet carpet, almost causing me to fall into what I was beginning to see was blood. It was still hot between my toes, but I didn't see a body. My mind was still fuzzy as bits and pieces were beginning to come back. I met a guy. What was his name? I struggled with the name as I stood in a pool of crimson life, trying to ignore the sensation of it cooling and congealing on my skin. I wasn't even sure how long I'd been there. All I did know was that this was Hyde's doing. But why had she done it? There had to be a good reason. But where was the body? The name and an image of his face hit me. Kyle. The man with a broad chest and hazel eyes framed by gorgeous lashes that any woman would kill for. Suddenly, I remembered the cosmopolitan I drank too quickly, followed by a bitterness on my tongue. I realised now it wasn't lemon or lime juice at all. Fuck. That's why you did it, isn't it? I asked Hyde. I knew I wouldn't get the kind of answer I expected. She wasn't another person standing in the room. She was inside of me, and she remained deathly quiet. I wasn't sure or certain what to make of that. From what I could tell, Carl's apartment had the same layout as far as the bedroom and master bath went. The double doors stood wide open, and there was a blood trailing from where I stood into that room. I followed the trail, slipping as I moved through the pool of blood. Somehow I managed to catch myself with a firm hand on the ground, avoiding a nasty swim in it. I was already covered in the stuff, but that was no reason to make it worse. My feet slipped on the tile as I made my way into the bathroom, searching for the body of the man I killed and heart I'd been munching on. The thoughts of it made my stomach turn. Following the track, my eyes made their way to the shower. Carl's body was beyond the clear glass doors, naked and covered in blood, with his ribcage cracked open and heart missing. Like I didn't know that already. A bloody kitchen knife lay on the shower floor, glinting at me from the overhead lights. Underneath the blood, I could see stab wounds in his gut. There were enough of them, I wasn't sure if it was the stabbing or the ripping open of the chest that had actually killed him. It didn't change the fact that Hyde, had taken his life. My stomach rolled and nausea crept up my throat, burning its way into my mouth. I spun and ran to the toilet, surprised that I even made it there. As I retched, bile burned my throat and left a sour taste in my mouth. I had always seen her inflict the damage. But as her way of protecting me, what she perceived to be my fragile mind, she always blocked out the aftermath of her work. I guess this time she didn't care and wanted me to see the result would be if I held her back. Well, her point was made, loud and clear. Reaching up with one hand, I flushed the toilet. I did not plan on leaving any DNA behind in there, or anywhere for that matter. The heart on the bedroom floor would have to be dealt with. I didn't even know what I would do with that yet, but fingerprints were the first thing I needed to handle. Hyde had never left me to clean up the mess before, so as I sat in front of the toilet, I tried to think up a plan of action, eliminating all traces back to me. What was I going to do? This was nowhere near my kiln room, and with my cleaning supplies, a thought waltzed into my frazzled brain. There was only one person I could ask for the answers. I stood and stumbled to the mirror, making sure not to touch anything else and leave any more evidence behind. I guess the best thing about being what Hyde was is the fact that she couldn't be incriminated in any crimes, big or small. I just happened to be the one she took for a wild ride every once in a while. The mirror was gigantic and was a series of 3 mirrors side by side, with the outer 2 at an angle. I saw 3 of me, which was even more disturbing than the trail of blood on the floor in the background. Looking deep into the eyes of my own reflection, I let the words come out. What do I do? When nothing happened, anger filled me and gave way to rage, pure and bitter like acid that ate its way through my veins. You got me into this mess. What do I do? I yelled into the mirror, pointing a finger at my own reflection as it pointed back at me, like she was accusing me too. As I watched, my eyes flashed from their natural amber brown to a bright green, the colour of fresh cut grass on a spring day. I blinked and my eyes were their natural colour again, like the change hadn't occurred at all. Had I truly seen it? I shook my head and decided that I had, and Hyde was just playing her sinister little games with me. Maybe she wanted to see what I'd do before she finally took over, if I was going in the wrong direction. After all, she could no longer kill her way through the club scene if I was locked away in prison awaiting the death penalty. I took a few steps away from the mirror, not taking my eyes off it, and waited for the transformation to take place again. Nothing. God damn it! I hissed. I couldn't keep the hurt and the fury out of my voice. Help me! I said to my reflection. You're the only one who can! A sly and sinister smile began to spread over the face of my reflection, the eyes turning into the beautiful bright green that had flashed in them not even a moment ago. Terror gripped me as I watched the transformation. Even my skin took on a sickly hue that I had never noticed when the conversation absorbed me. My veins taken on the same gross colour that reeked of violence and evil. I was evil. That was all there was to it. Hyde was attached to my very soul. That was one of the few bits of information that my parents gave to me before they died. That and the fact that this side of me would find a way out, one way or another. No matter how hard I tried to fight it. I should have known better. There was a small part of me that hoped I could make a difference. That maybe I was different than the ones who came before me. Guess not. My hand flew up to cover my mouth and stifle a soft cry as I watched the transformation. Absolute horror flooding me, nearly causing my knees to buckle beneath me. The only part of this that I'd witnessed before was the eye colour changing, but this was a whole new ballgame. I had no idea what else it entailed, and now the shock of it had me rooted to the spot. She still grinned at me, tilting her head to the side as she watched me, my stunned reaction. Her shoulders shook like she was holding in silent laughter, her hands clenched into fists at her sides. "Now you want my help?" she asked, mocking me with her tone of voice. "The little rich girl finally wants me to help her." She began to laugh, the musical note of it wrapping around me like a vice and squeezing me until tears sprang from my eyes and rolled down my soiled cheeks. I took a few tentative steps toward the mirror, trying as hard as I could not to slip on any blood from my footprints that left a nice trail all over the bathroom floor. I dropped my hands to my side. I had something to say. "You didn't have to kill him," I said, letting the anger in my situation leach its way into my voice, making sure it could be heard loud and clear. Her amusement stopped abruptly, and her eyes snapped to look at me. Something in them I didn't recognize, glinting with outrage. "I didn't. Now, what makes you say that?" Her question would go unanswered, because I knew she was going somewhere with the words. I flung a bloody hand toward his body in the shower, pointing to him, but keeping my eyes on her in the mirror. "What did he do to deserve that?" "Besides drug you, us, me." She began to become extremely irate with me, and I couldn't say I blamed her. The answer was quite obvious. Turn our body into a little plaything for his amusement? Rape us until there was nothing left that a man could possibly want? She paused, her eyes darting towards his slumped figure. "If that doesn't make him deserving of a torturous death, then I don't know what does." "This is insane," I sighed as I turned away from the mirror, her eyes on my back. I was going crazy. I had to be. "I'm going insane." I rubbed my hands down my face and let them fall to my sides with a slap. It was now that I realised one of the straps of my dress had fallen, and the other was torn, causing it to hang down at the front. Lovely. And I even liked this one. "Sorry, but this is as real as it gets, and it won't stop until you stop fighting what you are." I turned to face the mirror, confusion twisting my features. "Besides, Blythe, he was a pig, pure and simple." "And what exactly am I?" My voice rose in pitch and volume, and I had barely noticed, but I was beginning not to care. All I could do was stare at my own monstrous image in the mirror, as she seemed to ponder the answer, like she had no idea what to say. Was it really that hard of a question to answer? Her eyes settled on me, resolve and truth echoing in them as I watched her mind working. "You're damned," she finally voiced. "You're damned." My eyes shot up. Damned? What the hell is that even supposed to mean? I had rolled her eyes in exasperation. Do you think now is the best time to have an identity crisis, Blythe? Her words stung with truth that I'd been trying not to recognise, not allow myself to feel or know. I shook my head and plopped down onto the tile floor, causing searing pain to ricochet from my backside all the way up my spine and back down again. It was the only way I knew this was all real. All too real, if anyone ever asked, which I knew no one would. I bent forward, cradling my head in my hands and feeling nothing but pity for myself. I fought hide, tooth and nail, so I should have known things would have gone south eventually. I ended up in a huge mess because of my own foolish choices over Dax and what she had done to him. It was stupid and selfish. That was all there was to it. I lifted my head and let my hands fall, landing palm up on my legs. The red of Carl's blood clashed against the paleness of my skin, that the starkness of it shocked me for a moment. Her voice, my voice, drew my gaze back up to this silvered glass. I felt my brows furrow in complete and utter misunderstanding after hearing the next words to spill from her lips. You have to let me in, Blythe. That's the only way I can help you. My body began to tremble, and my head started to shake after the words met my ears. I didn't want to. I knew what happened when I let her in, and it was strange and terrifying and deadly. Was I prepared to let it all happen while I watched again? Maybe I would have to save myself. I had been fighting her because I'd seen what she did to the things I wanted in my life. She was protecting me from everything around me that could potentially cause harm. Was she? Or was she harming what I really needed because she needed me to need her? And if I don't? It was in me to rebel. So the question came out without me even thinking about it. My lips betrayed my innermost thoughts without me even asking them to. The smile returned to her downturned lips, and she knew, and I knew I had my answer. I rose to my feet, one ankle nearly rolling and causing me to fall. But I caught myself before it could happen. Today was full of near misses with the floor. I was tired and afraid and was trying my best to keep my gaze away from the body of the man who drugged me. Mind you, slumped in the shower with his life all over the floors and pouring down the shower drain. I shivered, but it wasn't because I felt cold. I'd actually been sweating profusely and didn't know it until I rubbed my arms to rid myself of the chill. My palms, already covered in Cole's blood, were now mixed with my sweat. Rubbing them on the tattered remains of my dress would do nothing to rid me of either. I did an internal shrug and looked into the mirror again, letting her green eyes meet my own amber brown ones. Hyde was going to be let in. How exactly? I wasn't sure, but I had a feeling it would be easy enough. Tell me what to do. I sighed, letting my shoulders sag at the thought of letting her do anything. I wasn't thrilled about it. But which was better? Letting her take over once again, or sending myself to prison for murder because I couldn't lose control over something for once? Just relax, and I'll do the rest. You don't have to do anything." She still smirked, wide and menacing. Not only was I still confused about what was happening, but I was afraid and thought I could be hallucinating. If it weren't for the dead man in the same room, I would have believed it for sure. But he was definitely there. I pushed a deep breath out of my lungs, my shoulders sagging even farther, and closed my eyes. I wasn't sure I could relax, but it was worth a shot. The ease of which I was actually able to do it shocked even me. Red leached through my eyelids from the lights inside the apartment, and the floor was slick and sticky underneath my feet. Because of the tiled floor, it was beginning to get cold, and congealing clots formed between my toes. No one would have thought it was so hard to ease your mind in deafening quiet, but it truly was. I couldn't and wouldn't lie about. Before I knew it, I disconnected from everything, myself included. My thoughts drifted away into a paradise my mind cooked up just for me. Was it Hyde producing the beach? In my head, filled with sun-kissed muscled men, seagulls and drinks with umbrellas in them? While all of my troubles and surroundings faded away, I felt Hyde as she crept her way in, like crawling out from inside the mirror and sliding into my body. My frame of mind was already beginning to change from the art dealer who wanted nothing to do with murder, to the killer who only had slashing and gashing on her mind. That and the ingestion of human male hearts that she kept in her freezer. In all of 2 minutes, there was only darkness and silence, as I let Hyde do the only thing I knew could save me. Or better yet, us.